Recording in progress.
Good morning, everybody. It's Mr. Power, Committee Secretary. We are just waiting for the rest of the members to log on, including the chairperson. I think some provinces are having load shedding, so it is a bit of a challenge, but I'll keep everybody updated. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, my colleagues. I think we are cooperating. We can start the meeting now. Aska, are we cooperating?
Yes, Chair. We don't need a quorum for the presentation as yet, Chairperson, but we have enough members, correct, Chair?
Okay. No, thank you very much. We are going to start our meeting. The department is in. I did see them. They are in. Honorable members and officials, my colleagues, let me take this opportunity to welcome you in our meeting. I know it's Friday. Most of us, we need to be on the ground doing election work, but I don't think this meeting will gonna be very long, but it's an important meeting that we need to be focused, and then from there we can go to the ground and do election work, all of us. So by so saying, honorable members, department, you are welcome. I'm not going to waste time. Aska, give us the presentation of today.
Morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. The agenda for today is the briefing by the department on the plant health bill, and whereafter will be the adoption of last week's minutes, Chairperson. That is the agenda for today. Thank you.
Come again?
The presentation, the briefing on the plant health bill, and the adoption of Tuesday's minutes. Sorry, Tuesday's minutes. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Aska. Honorable members, let's get the apology so that Aska?
I do not have any apologies for today, Chairperson, excepting the one department which they will introduce, Chairperson.
Let me get the apologies from the department, if they do have.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Department, do you have any apology? You don't have, ne? Hello?
Can you hear me, Honorable Chair?
Yes.
Yes, we do have two apologies. I'm currently here with Honorable DM Squatcher. The Minister could not join the meeting, and the DM. They are both in the Eastern Cape for the handover of community title deeds, and also a visit to the FPO, FPSU, respectively. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, DG. Let me welcome Deputy Minister Squacha. No, even if the minister is not there, as long as the deputy is here, we don't need both of them in the same meeting. We want one DG. Thank you very much. I give to you to present, and DM will do political overview, and then from there he give to you and present to us. DM Squasha.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Happy Friday to you and members of the committee.
DG, maybe DM has a network problem. You can continue. He will do closing remarks.
No, DM is on the platform. He's talking, Honorable Chair.
DG?
Honorable Chair.
Chairperson?
Oh, yes, DM?
Yes, I think that you probably did not hear me. I started speaking. But
Okay,
anyway,
you can.
I was greeting the Honorable Chairperson and members of the Select Committee and all officials present. And I wanted to say happy Friday to you all. We are here on a brief one, Chairperson, as you had indicated, that we might need to gallop. Today, our presentation to the Select Committee is on the Plant Health Bill, Phytosanitary Bill, it is called. And it has now gone through all processes, went through the Portfolio Committee, and it is now, of course, in front of this important Select Committee. It intends to repeal the old 1983 Act. The intention of this is to regulate import and export of plants and plant products. And our DG is here. He will then marshal the forces that will be doing the presentation. And in that instance, Chair, over to the DG with your permission. Thank you. Are you there, Chair?
Yes, you can give to DG to continue. I thought because I said I'm giving you, and then after that you'll give the DG. That's why I was quiet.
Over
Thanks.
to you, DG.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and thanks, Honorable DM Squatcher, for the introductions. With me today is the team from the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development to lead in terms of the engagements that we'll be having with the Select Committee today. The bill that we are introducing is the Plant Health or Phytosanitary Bill. If we have got a very holistic view of this bill, it deals with pests, and now pests from a perspective of engagement in terms of the bill relates to both pests in the sense that we all know pests and also diseases. So when we refer to pests, we also include the diseases, and that is in line with the International Plant Protection Convention that has got a definition of that kind. As DM has introduced, the bill looks at a mechanism to prevent the entry, introduction, establishment and spread of pests, and also looks at exports of products from South Africa. Now, if we have got to look at pests, we're talking about regulated pests. Those pests that are regulated may be quarantine pests, that is pests that are in South Africa or not so widely spread in our country, and other non-regulated, non-quarantine pests that would be pests that occur in our country but are regulated because of the impact that they might have on trade or especially on the seed industry. This bill that we are introducing here today is very important because in the past what we had a bill that did not respond to the exports that we are having, and therefore impacting on the competitiveness of the South African agricultural sector. We are bringing here today this act that would really be able to assist us in the competitiveness of our country. And I will ask Mr. Serage to introduce to the August Select Committee the phytosanitary bill as presented. Thank you.
Good morning to honorable members, and good morning to the Deputy Minister Squatcher. Good morning to the DG and colleagues on the call. Before us today is the Plant Health Bill, as has already been communicated. The bill, it's really we just are coming before this committee to present this bill, which in the main repeals the old Agricultural Pest Act of 1983. the current situation in the country is that plant health is, as opposed to animal health, is only in a national competence. So this therefore makes the bill very important so that the whole country, provinces and the private sector can converge on the same legal instrument. The current act that is in force, the Agricultural Pest Act, was obviously, as members are aware, enacted in 1983. So it predates the Constitution, and it further predates the World Trade Organization framework. So we're going to go through basically some few concepts which are very important for the purpose of this bill. Phytosanitary, we always refer to it as the sanitary, meaning free of diseases or insects. Phyto, from phyto means plant. So phytosanitary means free plants or plant material which are free from pests, insects or diseases. We talking also very key is what we call quarantine pests. When we say a pest is quarantine, it means it's a pest that we do not have in the country. Now, when we do not have a pest or an insect in the country, it means the entire ecosystem might not understand how to deal with this pest. In other words, the pest or the insects, if it's quarantine, it means we do not have natural enemies in the animal kingdom chain, because any animal, it has got to have a natural enemy or any pest, and for that matter. So if it's quarantine, it means all other animals, all other insects or animals in the country might not know what to do with it. So the nature, if you like, in the country might not be able to control that pest if it establishes itself and becomes dangerous and damage plants and plant products. So that's what, throughout the bill, we talk of quarantine and quarantine pests. So quarantine pest means the pest or the insects that we do not have in the country. So other countries will refer to other pests. Members could be aware of a situation where South Africa is in a series of negotiations and discussions with the European Union, because as far as citrus is concerned, the European Union says they do not have the disease called citrus black spot. So that's a quarantine disease to them. So they are then coming up with all the other measures to try and prevent themselves from having a citrus black spot, which is a quarantine disease to them. Similarly, South Africa has a few pests that do not naturally occur in the country, but it does not mean they cannot occur. So it means they can occur by themselves or by introduction through import or through travelers and tourists. So this bill intends to make sure that we control that space, that minister has power, is empowered by the Act to have power to control pests and diseases, either from normal importation or that might have been introduced by other means, including tourists. Regulated pests, basically it means a pest that it may not necessarily be quarantine, like I've explained quarantine pest, but it may be a pest which has got serious economic implications. So if it were to, it may be a pest that we have in the country. It's not quarantined to the country, but if it establishes itself, minister through this act or through this bill must have the powers to go into that farm, if it's a farm, to order destruction of the plant material so that this pest does not increase and attack other farms nearby and throughout the country. So for instance, we've got a disease called citrus greening. Citrus greening is not a quarantine disease to South Africa, but if it were to establish itself, it would cause damage throughout the country. So it becomes a regulated disease in that case. Members would notice that along the way we interchange pests and diseases, but I'll get clearer to explain why we interchange the two. Basically, a pest, which is an insect, an organism, creates, in most cases, a disease. Hence, you'll see us interchanging them. But in some cases, a pest just damages the crops, as you'd have like your American bollworm and the worms. They would not necessarily cause diseases, but they will cause damage to the crop or the fruit or the vegetable product. We speak here of South Africa being a signatory member of the World Trade Organization. This is where, in order for countries to trade amongst themselves, they've got to have an agreement. Members could imagine that of all the countries in the world, there's got to be a central point at which scientists can meet, enabled, of course, by their governments, to determine measures which would become conditions for trade. So at the moment, because our act predates the World Trade Organization, especially the SPS agreement and related, and also predates what we call International Plant Protection Convention. This is an equivalent of what is widely used for animal product, used to be called OIE. Now it has changed to WHOA, World Organization on Animal Health. The plant products version of the same is called IPPC. So this becomes an international body at which all countries must converge and discuss trade and discuss protection from insects and diseases and pests from one another. I've already touched, and DM has touched, DG has already touched why this bill. It predates the Constitution. And as such, it makes some provisions unconstitutional. And so enforcement of such might be difficult. Because obviously members would know if it's not constitutional, it makes it difficult for the country to, or for minister or the department to play oversight and to control. We are also mentioning that I've spoken of IPPC, and then we need to have an IPPC version of South Africa. So you have International Plant Protection Convention, which is at the WTO level. But each country must have what we call a competent authority, which means each country must have a body, which is not necessarily a directorate. It could be a set of government institutions coming together with common interests that can represent the country at the IPPC level. So basically, that's why we are emphasizing here. So again, problem statement we've already explained is because our law predates the Constitution. Our law predates the convention, the World Trade Organization Convention, and it has got a lot of shortcomings that obviously emerged with time. This is the old act. It basically shows where we are and how we regulate plant and plant products. And we have tried in the form of the regulations to try and bring it in line. But because most of the cardinal factors require law, we are not able to adequately address what we intend addressing with these regulations that we have issued over time. This is the process that the bill has traversed to date. And apologies, it's not NCOP, is the select committee, the last part, which is where we are today. Basically, because the content that we are proposing to amend in the 1983 Act are more than 50% of the Act, we are therefore required to repeal the entire law and replace it with a plant health. Let me basically also pause here to explain to members that our approach is to have it called Plant Health B instead of Phytosanitary. But we kept Phytosanitary only up to this point, beyond which we are going to drop it and only refer to it as Plant Health B. It means the same thing, but Phytosanitary might just become uneasy for our consumers to understand. Like I said, phytosanitary, meaning free of diseases and pests, plants that are free of diseases and pests. But we're going to, from beyond this point of today, we're going to drop phytosanitary and we're going to remain with Plant Health Bill. This we have already said. As and when we are happy with the economic growth as a result of tourism, that at the same time, from the plant health point of view, we get worried because it takes one infested fruit to ignite the whole country with diseases. So as and when tourists come to our country, as and when travelers and business happens, as and when importation of plants and plant products happen, as and when we go about breeding plants, we risk introducing diseases and pests. And therefore, we need to have law that in the event of an introduction, there has to be a law that dictates what needs to happen. This is basically what I've already explained. This will be Plant Health Bill, and then with the support of this August committee, then becomes Plant Health Act. If once enacted, then it aligns with all the principles of international law as far as plant and plant products trade is concerned. We've spoken about the establishment of National Plant Protection Organization of South Africa, which is the equivalent of the international one. This is the competent authority that when trades or dispute or scientific discussions happen, they would happen from this organization. Why do we call it an organization? It remains a competent authority, and it does not only comprises of one directorate. This will be it will be all the organs of state with interest in plant health matters. You could have environmental services as part of the NPPO, the National Plant Production Organization of South Africa. Each country that trades within the auspices of the World Trade Organization has to have an NPPO, so that when we engage, it becomes engagement at that scientific level, with NPPO South Africa engaging with NPPO India, and then we find one another. Once we agree on the pests that we need to be certified free of when import or export happens, then trade happens. Import control, it means at the moment our law it's got very gray area with regard to us importation of not necessarily gray area, but it's not strict with regard to pests that are found or travelers that are found with products, plant and plant products without permits. If these are found in them, our law is very, very generous, not much, about 300 rand or whatever, so it's not much. So we need to strengthen this part. As members, some members could be watching TV, you see a program called Border Security, where if anyone is found with fruit and for fruit products or plant products, animal products, those are fines. The current law in the country does not allow us to impose spot fines and to be strict. So import control will then allow us to develop regulations and be able to control that part. National control, basically this is about allowing allowing the department to be able to order a destruction of plants or destruction of crops that are found to have diseases, if the fear is that such diseases might increase and affect neighboring farmers. And then export control, basically, at the moment, much as we're exporting to all the part of the world, there is no law through which we issue what is known as phytosanitary certificates. We do not have this because we do not have, our law predates IPPC. So because our law predates the IPPC, we therefore do not have any law that controls export. So once this bill is enacted into law, we'll then be able to control export and be able to say these are the stuff that can be exported, and because of some reasons, if that's scientific justification, we'll be able to say we cannot export this plants or this plant products, these fruits or these vegetables. Re-export control. We spoke of economic growth somewhere and on top, and it will still follow. It will still show as we follow. This act, this bill, once enacted into law, will allow us or the country an opportunity for importation of plant and plant products and re-exports. it will be able to allow us to set up regimes, law regimes or legislative protocol that allows import with the purpose of exporting. So there will be that mechanism that will enter into. This basically we spoke of, so I'll just run quickly through this. Definitions we spoke of, the responsibility minister spoke of country or minister being allowed to provide overall control, and then the powers of the minister obviously to issue regulations, which would be the how part of this bill. So this is a very short bill. As members are aware, lately the focus is to have a very succinct and direct law, and then so that we can areas that require further explanation and further clarity, that is done in the form of regulations. Even with this bill, we carry and have the same approach. Control measures I spoke of. Again, executive office. Okay, of course, like any other law, there's a section that allows minister to designate a registrar. In this case, we will use executive officer, but the intent and the purpose are the same. This would be an official appointed by the department who exercises certain powers as designated by a minister. This is just to make day-to-day operations easy, but obviously there's still appeal, and the minister is not divested away. Her powers, minister's powers, his or her powers are not divested away from after designation. So he or she can still act upon the same provisions in the Act, but designation means for day-to-day running to happen without necessarily having to rely on minister to take a decision. Executive officer is the same as these are the powers that would be conferred, designated, not conferred, designated to an official of the department just for the day-to-day running. We call in other laws registrar. Land, this one is maybe I need section 7. This is about in the event of infestation. There has to be an order. At the moment, our law is also not clear enough, so we are just clarifying that orders with regard to land basically meaning an area or farm or related facility where there's a suspicion or where we are able to detect that there's a quarantine pest and related. But this one, it may include, basically the order may include a lot of other things, destroy and whatever, but it also in this specific case, it may include putting a specific land or farm under quarantine, so until pests or diseases are destroyed or cleared or eradicated. This one, section 8, is one of those contentious sections that in the event of suspicion, we should have powers to for Caesar to gain entry, inspect, confirm. Of course, there will be a warrant of arrest and a warrant of execution or warrant of search. This is an area where we in the bill we are saying we need to have a mechanism that allows an authorized person with a warrant to enter into whatever land, farm, any facility that is farming or has a suspected infected material for this purpose to carry out a control measure. Control measure might be confiscate, might be to distract, might be to. There's a lot of things that we will explain in the regulations. Sorry, and of course we spoke of the NPPO, and then import regulations. Obviously, this means we will control clearly how importation of plant and plant products must happen. This we spoke of in regulated articles. Basically, that much as and when we'll be going about setting out import regulations, we will basically set measures, and then from time to time, minister might by a gazette make certain provisions, withdraw or include measures. So this will be as and when the situation on the ground so dictates. Regulated articles, I spoke of import and export. but import and re-export and import and export. So let me explain. Import and re-export, which is section 15, it means one would have imported products from another country. Let's say, for instance, a farmer or an exporter is busy exporting citrus, and there's a market and South Africa doesn't have enough citrus. This farmer can import citrus from Zimbabwe and apply for it to be re-exported. That's section 15. So that differs from section 14. Section 14 is about how to go about exporting. If country A, India, as an example, dictates that certain pests or fruits must be treated in a certain manner, we will be enabled by section 14 to treat such products in that particular manner so that we can comply with the import requirements of India. In transit, I spoke of in transit. This means it differs from section 15. Section 16 is about in transit. So landlocked countries like Botswana might want to export to whatever country that they're exporting to, and the vessel or the shipping company might be the one that will make it easier for them, might be docking in Durban. They will need to transit through South Africa to go to their destination. So at the moment, our law is also not very clear. We are going to make this very clear to ensure that in transit is also regulated. At the moment, it's not clearly regulated, so it is regulated, but we want it to be clear so that in the event of, let's say, for instance, there's a truck with oranges going to Durban, it goes transit through South Africa, and for some reason there's an accident and the oranges spill over into the land, South African land. If this, if the oranges have not been inspected according to South African standards, or if South Africa has not accepted those oranges to transit through, or if they are infected by a quarantine pest, go back to quarantine, such oranges might affect South Africa. So we are going to then set up law with regard to how to go about in transit. In transit might also mean import into Botswana through South Africa, so by the other way around. Section 17, sorry, it obligates farmers to ensure that, I talk of farmers, but it refers to anybody who trades or who has plants and plant materials in their possession or in their premises. So this basically is about basically providing for conditions under which this person that is designated by the minister may declare some pests to be of quarantine importance, and some that, even though they are not of quarantine importance, but they are still regulated. So there will be measures with regard to how one goes about farming with those plants and plants in this specific case. 18, it makes it compulsory for any farmer or any person who has who notices that they may have a disease that they don't know, or they may have a pest. Even if they know, if it's a regulated pest, it's compulsory for one to notify state so that they don't conceal it. Over the past, we have seen farmers concealing. We have a case now with potatoes, where so if farmers conceal, it may spread to other farmers nearby. So if the farmers have concealed and it's found that they had concealed, they would have contravened section 18. 19 to 21, basically we spoke of this to declare after 18 happened, we clear, and then we can say to the rest of the world, we have now been able to clear ourselves from the pest or disease. Export can then happen from there. Section 22 it's a proactive approach in the event of there being a need for minister to designate an assignee or any company to carry out certain work as a part, or certain activities as part of this act. At the moment, members are aware of the Border Management Authority. That's a classical example where minister will, through section 22, assign some powers to minister of to the Commissioner of Border Management Authority to exercise some activities in terms of this bill once enacted into law. But this might also be, let's say, for instance, there is a locusts as we know. And we find it difficult, or for whatever reasons, we are not able to sufficiently deal with it. Minister might, through Section 22, assign a juristic person, a company, or anybody to for that purpose to go and control locusts, as an example. These ones are normal, but I want members just to draw their attention to Section 28, which is where I'm saying our current law, I think, says about 300 rand if you are found to have fruits or plant products in your person. And that is not really assisting because, and also it doesn't allow us to impose spot fine. It means one has to go to magistrate court and all of that. So it doesn't assist. So we are aligning ourselves with the rest of the world that through regulations we'll be able to regulate and ensure that the spot fines that can be paid, and also that we don't have to really go to if we can identify or intercept pests or plants or plant products without a valid permit, we can then act thereon immediately. Regulations I spoke of. Compensation 31. In the event, as the situation might dictate, it just gives also minister the power and the room to consider paying compensation in the event an orchard would have been destroyed and or a farm or anything or any land destroyed pursuant to obviously pest or a disease. And then, yeah, 32 basically it's straightforward. It's about the assistance and cooperation, basically other authorities working together. This has been the parties that were consulted, the stakeholders, government departments, and all those that we thought were relevant to this process, and there's been sufficient consultation throughout all of this. There are no financial implications. We think with the current capacity, posts that are filled, with the current mechanism, the funding and the post and everything else, we should be able to switch from Agricultural Pest Act of 1983 to Plant Health Act without really requiring any significant financial resources. Basically, this is where I asked for apology that instead of select committee, we type NCOP apologies, but we are hoping this August committee will engage this bill and guide processes going forward. Thank you. Back to you, DG.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. We submit.
Thank you very much, DG and Dade. I forgot his name. Honorable members, let me first welcome the presentation from the department, DG and Deputy Minister and Dade, the presenter. Honorable members, here is the presentation from the department. We'll see by raising of your hand to show that you want to ask question or you have an input in this regard. Honorable members, it seems honorable members are clear on this issue. I don't see any hand. Members, do you have any question?
Morning, Chairperson.
Yes, Mama.
Good morning to your good self and also to DM.
No.
I've got nothing to say, Mama.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam Kiva, are you fine? I know. Honorable Prince Mukiva. It seems, Deputy Minister and DG, the presentation is clear and forward to honorable members. I don't see any hand that they want to ask question, to show that they want to ask question. I think they accepted the presentation as it is. So I am not going to waste any time to say anything. For now, let me call or give back to the Deputy Minister to give us the closing remarks, because members are satisfied. If I'm not
Thank you very
mistaken.
much, Chairperson. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Select Committee for affording us an opportunity. We think that as we move away from this room, we will get into a situation where in future it will no longer be called a bill but an act. And we think that step by step we're moving in the right direction in our country. Thanks to all of you, and happy Friday to you all. Thank you very much, Chair.
Oh no, thank you, DM and your team, DG and DDGs that are in the platform. We thank you for coming on Friday. We know on Friday you had to run around, we have to run around, but you made a day, time to come to the Select Committee and present the important piece of legislation. No, we thank you. Now you are released. Then the members of the committee can remain so that we can continue with the business of our committee. Thank you very much, DM and DG and DDGs.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, DG. Oscar,
Yes,
are we
Chairperson.
correct?
No, Chairperson.
Well, we are not.
Chairperson. No, we'll have to
Okay.
leave the minutes till the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity, members, to thank you for coming to this meeting. We know it's not our normal to attend a meeting on Friday, but because we want to finalize everything so that when we go when the parliament rise, we must not left anything behind. So thank you very much. This meeting is officially closed. We close the meeting and then we adjourn it. Thank you very much. See you next week, Tuesday.
Thank you, Mama.
Mama, I miss
Thanks,
you, Mama.
Thank you
Miss
so much,
Mama.
Mama.
Mama, please, man, take care of yourself.
Eh?
You know, you
I'm
make
not-
my heart bleeding when you speak like that.
Sorry, sweetheart. Hey, I'm not
Please.
well, man. I'm not well, really, but no.
With daddy.
Please.
It's all right, ma. Thank you